Hello friends, family and other creatures of the sea. Welcome back to another best of 3. This time it's going to be between Solar in the top right, spawning as the blue Zerg player, and Maru in the bottom left as the red Terran playing for Team NV, of course. Maru's keeping his first SCVs at home, and it's something that we've been seeing a lot lately. Not too fond anymore of those early game proxies. In general, he feels very solid. Still mentioned in interviews that his TVZ is his weakest matchup, I believe, or at least the one matchup where he feels afraid of anyone, is TVT being, well, I don't even have words for it. Magnificent, marvelous, superb. It's so ridiculously good. He hardly ever really loses the matchup. His TVP is also quite insane, and he says he feels very comfortable in every stage of the game there as well. Doesn't really have any trouble with any tosses, and TVZ being the one matchup where he struggles a little bit difficult against lurkers at times, some difficulty with some Baneling styles, and we'll see if Solar can make it happen here against the Korean Terran. It is possible. Solar has had some success against him in the past, in longer games, showing a lot of promise and then sometimes walking into a nuke. Has happened twice, I believe, against Maru already. So he needs to be careful of that type of stuff. But in general, I think Solar is a really solid ZVT player. He's a ZVT player that likes to play macro, is good with run-bys, is good with counter-harass, but also has a very solid understanding of the late game and the unit control in the late game. And I feel like at times this kind of sets him apart a little bit from some of the other top Korean Zergs. And when I say the late game, I really mean the super late game with the Infestor Broodlord type of compositions. I think Rogue and Dark are probably the two best players in the world when it comes to using the lurkers into this initial phase of the late game, right? When the Niduses are up, you need to do these aggressive rotations. I think Rogue and Dark are the best. I don't really think that anyone would disagree with me on that. Maybe some people would say that Raynor at his peak was very, very good in that phase as well. People would say that Serral was good with that as well. But I think in general, Rogue and Dark are the greatest there. But when it comes to that late game Infestor Broodlord control, I always feel like that Rogue and Dark, they fall off a bit. And then if we look at Korea, you see a player like Solar who's just so comfortable with that type of composition. His control so solid with these big armies, the kind of death volley armies, and just the pure micro in those big fights, rather than the more decision-based making lurker composition, where it's all about rotations, not so much about microing in the fight, as really all you do with lurkers is you burrow them and then they shoot by themselves. It's just more about positioning and other things. And with the I feel like Solar doesn't shine as much there as he does with that Infestor Broodlord composition. We'll see if that's going to even get there this game, as we have 2000 atmosphere. It's a map that sometimes does end up going very late, but it's also a map that's often focused around these first 5 bases, and then the denial on a potential 6th or a potential 5th. So you see the first 4 for Terran here are relatively easy to keep, and then the 5th one is a little bit more open, and the 6th one is, well, in a position that's just difficult to defend. So that means that often the Zerg will play with being up 1 or 2 bases and trying to deny this 5th and 6th base. I think the main point really tends to be the 6th base, because this 5th is still kind of readily available majority of the time. But at 6th base, if you can get that as a Terran, then it really becomes a problem for the Zerg, because Zerg is always going to be trading worse than Terran. That is just a fact. Ghost, Mines, Tanks, Liberators, Marines, they're all way more cost efficient than any of the units that Zerg has, until perhaps you get into that real late Infestor Broodlord stage. But that really doesn't happen until the Zerg is completely mined out one side of the map, because Infestor Broodlord is too bad at rotating defensively. Which means that if you transition into it too quickly, you're gonna lose complete map control, you won't have any creep anymore, and you won't have any of the outside bases. So we'll see an initial focus from Solar most likely on these 5 bases, kind of in this line, the first 3 here. This is a 4th, this is a 5th, and eventually starting to take these bad boys as well. And then hopefully being capable of denying this base. That is, or maybe even taking 1 or 2 of these bases, even if it's only temporarily. Now, we talked enough about the map. Let's take a look at these build orders. We see Maru actually opening up with a 2 Rex, or well, 2-1-1 as we call it. So 2 barracks into a factory, into a starport. The 2 is the barracks, the 1 is the factory, and the second one is the starport here. Overlord's gonna get taken out. Quick stim here, coming in out of Maru as well. First queen almost gets taken out, but not quite. We'll need to see a forced pickup here. So these medevacs took quite a beating out of these queens. At the end of the day, 1 marine went down and 1 ling went down. Of course, the single overlord that also fell. Next medevac is being sent out as well here, and that means that we'll have a really cool triple medevac timing. Solar, meanwhile, is droning up to 65, 66. A couple of banelings on the way as well. Very tight early game here for the Zerg player, whose creep spread isn't necessarily brilliant so far, but everything else really has been. I mean, 64 workers at this point. The only thing we're truly lacking is a fort base, and I wouldn't have even minded if he had double expanded in some type of way. He's gonna use a decoy base. It's a move that we've seen Rogue play a lot, mainly when he's playing Muras, I guess. Not so much with a pure Ling Bane type of composition. We are on 5 gas, which should indicate that we're gonna throw down a Hydralisk then relatively soon and play around, well, maybe a Hydra Bane timing or something of the sort. Yep, here we go. Hydralisk then is gonna get thrown down, and although a Hydra then is always very likely when the opener is Ling Bane, this is going to be more focused around a timing and really wanting to fight with the Hydras rather than rushing into those lurkers. Upgrades from Maru are a little bit behind as tries to cancel this fort base. Could be a very big deal if he does get it. No cancel. No cancel on that hatchery is kind of a big deal, actually. That is kind of a big deal. We have a second factory out here, so the follow-up was 2 racks into double factory. Armory is here as well, drilling claws on the way. I'm not quite sure what got cancelled here. Something did, oh, I think it was 2 spores or 1 spore that got cancelled there. A bunch of units did end up falling here, as we see a very efficient Maru so far. 1800 minerals, or 1800 resources lost against 550. Here comes the triple mine drop. Solar's responses are quick, they're rapid. It's not going to be taking any damage yet. Let's take a look at that second drop as well here. Hydra's on the way, in position. 1 mine's going to shoot. Oh my god! You just forgot about it, or what? This mine's a hero. 12 kills on this mine, and this spore doesn't even see it. I don't think Solar's quite aware. Well, his early game was very good. Going into the mid game, everything feels a little bit sloppy here. Just feels a little bit sloppy. 62 workers against 62. More mine drops are being sent in right now. This fort base hasn't started yet. Well, it has started a couple of times already, but multiple cancels. Always very painful. Still have a mine over here. We still have a mine in this position. Got another shot. Got 3 kills here. Was on 12 before, now on 15. This base still hasn't really been constructed. This medevac is going to get F2'd back home, and this mine is going to get another shot. Potentially could be getting 3-4 more workers. I mean, it's not the biggest deal, 3-4 workers, but it is a big deal if you already lost 25 and you're struggling to get any money in. And I said that the early game looked very good for Solar, and honestly, it looked really, really good for Maru here. He's up about 30 supply. Hasn't started his 2-2 yet, but does have the fort base on the way. This mine is even kind of repositioning here. I think he got like 6 kills with that 1 shot. That's crazy. 21 kills total in this 1 mine. All of those most likely going to be drones. 2-2 upgrades do start for Solar. So even though he's lacking the money, he's still finding a way to continue his stack. And that is sometimes just so important. It's just making sure that you get these important upgrades, that you get that tech going. Oh, a couple of Hydras are going to get sniped here by the Marines. Marines do get the pickup. A bunch of them died, but decent trade here for Maru. Maru is just trading on 2 sides right now, knowing that his opponent is kind of spread thin. We have another 4 mine drop coming out here. 67 workers currently for Solar, 76 for Maru. Fort base has finished, is floating over already. Fort base for the Terran being faster than the Zerg. That is a sign of the time. So yes, that's a sign that perhaps it's time to leave the game, actually, if you're Solar. If you would see that, you'd be like, well, that's really not good. That's actually just really, really, really bad. Here come 4 more mines and 10 drones down the drain. 1 more mine in this medevac is going to burrow and get at least a couple of links. He's just keeping his opponent on a low drone count at this point. Maru's definitely controlling the pace of this game, sending out drop after drop after drop, and not really even caring about pushing with a big army yet. He's kind of waiting for a good setup, and I feel like this setup is here already. Maru disagrees and said, no, I just want to keep dropping a little bit, keep your opponent busy on the right side of the map while moving out on the far left side. This is a very large army that now is moving towards that, what was this? The third base. 10 drones have gone down. Here's another I can't even catch up with these drones. It's ridiculous. That's a worker count lost. This is a 10-minute game and 55 workers have been killed. That is a very high number of workers. A very high number of workers. This push is going to get cleaned up because Maru decided not to micro for a little bit. Trying to make the game a bit closer than it really should be. These medevacts are gonna get well, at least bruised, battered around. But they will survive for now. 5th base is already on the way here for Maru. Right now Solar isn't even dreaming yet of a 5th base. Right now he's dreaming of keeping his 4th alive for the next minute and a half. Lurkers are on the way. Vipers are coming out as well. Seismic Spines +1 range. There's no money for any extra upgrades. There's no gas for high lurker counts either. It's all struggling. Just like Maru is a rich baller right now and he can spend his money wherever he pleases. On the other hand, Solar, he's trying to save every penny that he can. He's being very careful here as well. And he really needs to be because he just doesn't have a whole lot of money. He's 145 supply. 79 workers, can't afford a 5th base. It's like 5 creep tumors total. Well, it's 21, but they're all at exactly the same spot, so this basically counts as one. He just has nothing of value. There's no assets here for Solar that kind of make this game somewhat redeemable. I guess these Vipers are useful. And Ghosts weren't out yet for at least the past few minutes. There's not a single lurker here, which means this is going to be a cost-efficient trade for Maru. Only with lurkers can Zerg at this phase in the game get cost-efficient trades, otherwise the Marine Marauder mine is just going to be a little bit too powerful. You get a big transfuse on one of them lurkers. Oh my god, a mine drop while he's pushing. 12 worker kills there. Absolutely huge. Lingbane is moving forward, and a lot of these medevacts are actually gonna be forced back home right now. Lurkers do get taken out here, as Marauders and Marines are pretty powerful against Lurkers if the Lurkers are in small numbers, and they don't have any type of support. Lingbane wasn't in position. Oh my god, Solar just straight up walked into these mines. It's not what you want. That is the exact opposite of what you want. What's in here? There's a couple of Marauders. You're gonna have the surprise of a lifetime when these guys show up. There's no energy for Parasitic Bomb. I wonder if you're a Marauder, you realize that though. Like you just see a Viper coming and you know what he's done before to medevacs. I don't think you're counting the energy. But just praying to whatever god you pray to. Mine's gonna hit a single link. Not the greatest hit. A couple of ghosts in this aggressive army, but slowly but surely Solar is getting some type of footing in this game. He's trying to set up a 5th base right now. Saying that in a very careful way as well, because I do realize that Solar is still very far behind. Quite far behind indeed. Maru's still in very tight control. Usually the moment lurkers are out, Zerg wants to start making moves, going across the map. That's absolutely not the case here. Right now, the moment... Oh my god, I think 5 lurkers just went down there. Solar can't really afford this. This 5th base is going to get cancelled. That was an awful trade here. I think the only play that Solar actually has right now, this is gonna sound stupid, is to turtle up on 4 bases, get a crap ton of lurkers, get a Nidus, and pray to god it gets up in the main base. This is the only play that there is, I believe. I don't think there's any alternative plays here. The play is to get a Nidus up in a location where Maru doesn't expect it, and then just to run for the production and win. You need to win. You need to have a single fight, and he needs to win that fight. Because otherwise, he's just going to get absolutely outmined here. I mean, Maru is expanding like a Zerg. He's flying orbitals to bases right now, because he doesn't respect Solar's ability to attack. There is no ability to attack right now for Solar, and that is a real issue. And you could say, why doesn't he just kill some outside bases? Because it doesn't matter. He's still going to be down 3 bases, even if he kills one. Like, it's just not good enough. He needs to go for the production at this point. And that's well, it's not quite going for the production. What is this actually? What in the world are we seeing here? This is a suicide mission, my friends. That's what we're seeing here. GG gets called as Maru wins game number 1 here in this best of 3. Game number 2 is here on Berlingrad. Solar probably right now is rethinking his plan. Well, actually, he shouldn't be rethinking his plan. His plan was good. Just the execution in the mid game wasn't there, and that cost him that last game. He hadn't lost 25 workers to 3 mines. That definitely would have helped there. This early game really was quite fantastic. I was really impressed by that. I mean, it was just up 20, 15 workers or so at certain points. His fort base, sure, was a little bit delayed. Did get cancelled once or twice. But if that doesn't happen, and these are things that you can obviously fix, I feel like his early game looked insanely tight. And this is one of the most important things in TVZ, is that you have a very tight early game, because the early game for the Zerg kind of defines who gets to decide the pace of the game. It decides whether you're allowed to have Zerglings on the map for a run by, whether you can afford to have Zerglings on the map for a run by. Observers asking for the score. We already know what the score is, mate. It's 1-0 for Maru. There you go. Thank you, Roxkiss Bomi. Reaper first. SCV Scout as well here, coming out for Maru. And it wouldn't surprise me if he gets the exact same build order here once again. He has been fond of playing that 2-Rex, and he has shown that he can play it again and again and again. I would be surprised if he decides to go into the same factory follow-up, the double factory off of 2-Rex. Because that does make you a little bit vulnerable on the smaller maps. So yeah, if Solar opts to go for roaches and you open like that, I think you're just kind of dead, because you don't have enough marines to defend your third base or even your natural. You have so little units. Factory is going to get thrown down here, and we will see what is in the plans here for the Korean Terran player, who was once very young, just like all of us. But now it's not the young promising star no more. He's now the old seasoned veteran, basically. Even though he's not, he's like 23, I think. I'm not sure how old Maru is. He's actually not that old. Just very successful. He's getting a lot done with his Reaper as well. Of course, not that weird on Berlingrad, as this map is so tiny. You sneeze twice, you're on the other side of the map. Line base being taken here for Solar, rather than going for that triangle. Sensible. Well, actually, is it sensible? If we think about this, this is kind of similar like the Oxide upset, right? The Oxide setup, sorry. In the way that this base feels more vulnerable in the early game, but when you're coming to taking a fourth base, then this base is a lot easier to take. And if you don't have this base here, and you don't have to creep up here, taking this as your fort with this ramp that close could be an issue. On top of that, you also have these rocks here that you might want to take down as fast as possible. Curious to actually see how this map will play out, because it's not going to be easy, that is for sure. For Solar, it's a small map, and small maps tend to be favorable for the Terran player. We have a Viking coming up here. Stim is already on the way, and this seems to be... Is this 4 Hellion? It's going to be 6 Hellion at least. 2 of these Hellions do stay home for now. Viking hopefully will be capable of getting something done. Yep. Sees this Overlord, spots it, and will send the Viking there most likely. At the same time, these cars really aren't doing much of anything, are they? Hop. Metabolic boost completes. We have 2 more barracks on the way. Okay. This is a change of pace here. This is a change of pace. Does he see it? Barely misses the fact that there was a barracks being built on there. This is a barracks pre-3rd CC. This is a very aggressive opener here for Maru, who's pretending to play a triple CC, but isn't actually playing a triple CC, and Solar so far hasn't scouted that. That is a big deal. That actually is a very big deal. Solar's trying to find something here. A little bit of damage on these cars, isn't quite going to get it. Links are staying in the back, and the rotational defensive rotation here is very easy for Solar. Still has 2 queens aggressively as well. These rocks are starting to get taken out. I'm not quite sure why Maru would even care about that. Feels like rocks tend to help the Terran more than they help the Zerg. 2 kills on this Viking, most likely 2 Overlords. I doubt this bad boy landed to kill a Link somewhere. Or maybe he's trying to take out a creep tumor actually. Yeah! Oh, that is such a cool way to take out a creep tumor. He just started attacking those rocks from 3 different angles. Look at that, and now he sees the creep retreat. He's like, he saw where the creep was, realized there was a tumor here. First attacked it from this angle, then started attacking it from this angle. In different, like, semi-concaves. That is extremely cool, actually. Man, that was the... I can't believe I didn't realize that immediately. But it's still a nice move. Nice move, I like that. I really do like that. Okay, what do we have here? We have +1 attack. We have a couple of cars being repaired. No armory is down though. This is just a good old 2-base, well, all-in. Can we call this? Yeah, we can call this all-in. There's no third base. The worker count has been halted. There's not even a 4th gas. This is going to be a +1 tank marine all-in. Solar, starting up with a clean 65 drone early game, has a lot of money in the bank right now. That looks bad, but a lot of money can be spent into banelings, and that's exactly what's going to be happening here. Is there enough creep? Is there enough ability for Solar to set up a fight where he can get these banelings to connect with the Marines? Baneling speed, how far are we? About a minute away. No way he can wait for that. There's no way he can wait for that. We have a Ling Run by being set up. This Ling Run by might just be capable of getting a tank. Will end up getting a tank unless Maru responds right now. It's not what happens here. Big supply block as well for Solar, who's trying to keep these queens alive, trying to keep this hatchery alive. More banelings are being morphed in. We have these links kind of flanking and also keeping away the reinforcements from this army. Transfuses are running low at this point. I think we have about 2 remaining. The base also is running low though. Here comes Solar moving in with the links, moving in with the banelings. 1-1 finishes pretty much the start of this fight. And this is a very good cleanup. Lots of money in the bank still as well. More queens are in production. You have 8 queens out already. 4 more banes as well. 11 more banes on the way. 2-2 starting. Solar's feeling it. Even starts sprinkling in a drone here and there. Of course, completely nonsensical as his opponent is still on such a low worker count. As long as Solar manages to survive, he's going to be in a fantastic position. Will manage to sneak these links by, trying to look for a 3rd base. Still not there. Still no 3rd base there. Solar sees it and it's like, hey... Hey, that's good. That's good for me. That's really good for me, even. These links are going to get taken out. There's a single baneling there that might be capable of helping. Not sure if Solar has enough here to save this 4th base, though. I think he does not, actually. We see some good target fire here on that hatchery. Tank gets picked up. 4 Marines also survive. And Maru making a play. That was cool. 4th base gets thrown down once again as well. This time we will not get taken out. You know what wouldn't surprise me here? If we actually see some type of mid-game 2-2 push. Whether it's going to be with Hydras or just with pure Ling Bane. He's on 6 gas already, so it's a very high gas count. He has a lot of money in the bank. He's up 20 supply and he's going to be up 2 upgrades. He should be up way more supply, by the way, because he has so much money. Solar is genuinely quite rich this game. Maru has been, of course, very low in income. For the simple reason that he opened up with a... what resembled a 2-base all-in a lot, at least. I'm not quite sure if it wasn't 100% all-in, but... killing 5 creep tumors definitely wasn't big enough. Tank on the high ground, dishing out a decent amount of damage. Solar not quite ready for it. Good target fire on those banelings. Tank is eventually gonna get taken out. So will a lot of links on the low ground as these Marines are going ham with that medevac healing. Quick pickup as the Queen show up. And Maru's trying to keep a little bit of a little bit of momentum in this game. Baneling's almost getting the hit of a lifetime. Already killed 1 or 2 Marines. Maybe even more. I didn't quite see how many died there. Lurker Dan on the way now. And we have that Hive as well. So we're not going to be seeing a mid-game push. Still a lot of money here for Solar. It is quite surprising, isn't it? That he basically has been floating 1k ever since that first push at the 630 mark. I guess his 4th base has been late, which is an issue. Really is an issue. I was finally getting to spend that money. He's throwing down 2 hatcheries at the same time. 1 hatchery in the main base, 1 hatchery on the 5th. Maru, what are you doing here? Are we gonna see an 8 Rex? or will you throw down an extra base? These are of course the questions that we truly care about. It's going to be a fourth base. 2-2 on the way here as well. I really feel like that if Solar had spent his money and had gone for a mid-game attack, I also feel like it's impossible that Maru would have defended. Right now Solar is taking it a bit slower and says, no, I don't actually care about that. What I want right now is something else. Ooh, he's gonna hit 3 drilling claws. It's a lot less scary all of a sudden. Try to take out some of these larvae, these eggs. Very interesting, as this mine is going to hit... Well, oh my god, just the retargeting was crazy there. Ends up killing 9 lings. Not the end of the world for Solar, who's already on his way to Lurkers. Seismic Spine on the way as well. Should you look at that. Almost done. Adaptive Talents on the way. Give +1 attack for these range units. I'm liking the position here for Solar. Where during last game, continuously I liked the position for Maru. Here it feels like Maru just doesn't really have a lot going for him. And we might get that classic situation where Lurkers finish up, Zerg moves across the map, and there's really nothing to stop these Lurkers from burrowing. You don't even have enough scans to see them continuously. That can be an issue. And this is why Maru is being so aggressive right now. It's like, hey, I need to keep you back. The moment you get to walk across the map, I'm probably dead. So what I want is to keep the fight on your side, because then I can just pick up, fly away. We even see some very aggressive moves here. This fly into the main base. Sadly, there's 2 parasitic bombs. Solar hits 1 correct medevac. The other medevac is not the correct one. This one is going to survive though. We'll also be capable of taking out a couple of these drones. Viper gets targeted down. Oh my god, Maru's control is so ridiculous. So stupid. So fast. He's so good. Actually insane. Gonna drop straight into a bunch of links and gonna continue dropping over here, I guess. Just taking out single links here and being happy with that. That's a champion mindset. It's truly on the Sigma Mill grind set here. Just dropping 8 Marines to damage 1 link, then just to pick up again. In a game where your opponent has 81 workers and about 86 links. That's big. Here comes the Lurker push. This is kind of what I was afraid of. Feels like Maru just doesn't have the units to defend this. I mean, Hydras are popping in right now as well, trying to take out these Liberators. These Libs actually might be the saving grace here for that Korean Terran, as there's just no anti-air available. These Lurkers do get taken out, but also force a cancel on the Planetary Fortress, force a lift off. Both these workers haven't been mining for a while, so overall good fight here for Solar, of course. 11 more Hydras on the way. We have 1 Lurker on the edge of creep. And at this point there's no more map presence really for Maru. Look at this. His vision is really the sensor tower. That's all of his vision. He's going to start moving in. These tanks in a bit of a dicey spot here. We'll try to target down as many Lurkers and Banes as they can, but I don't think it's quite going to be enough. Banelings moving forward, Lurker pushing in as well. I don't even think there's scans available. GG gets called, and Solar wins game number 2. Game number 3 here in this best of 3 for the people keeping track at home. That does indeed mean that this is the final game. That fills me with sadness, but it also fills me with joy that soon we will know who the winner is. Maru is opening up with another depot at home, and Solar most likely will just pop off with his hatchery first, as he always does. Last game really was something else though. Maru opening up with a cool 3 Rex before CC, doing absolutely nothing, and once again showing us why no one plays 3 Rex before triple CC, unless it's with a straight 3 Rex from a single gas without factory. You have seen that build being used on maps like Berlingrad, Curious Mind, just the smaller maps in general. But a tank push 3cc with +1, it just, 3 Rex 2cc, just isn't very popular anymore. It just doesn't do the trick no more. Zergs have gotten the good. I mean, Solar defended that while floating 1k minerals and having 66 drones, a fort base on the way. Like, if Zerg can just defend a build without having to switch up their plan whatsoever to defend your build, it's probably not a very good build. And I know that Maru's micro is absolutely fabulous and fantastic, and at most of the time he's going to be able to make it work. And sometimes I feel like that is a bit of a curse, a blessing and a curse at the same time, obviously. It makes him sometimes believe that builds that aren't that good perhaps are a bit better in his head than they really are, because he's so good with his control that at times he makes things work that really shouldn't. And then you're like, oh, this build worked, so maybe it's great. In reality, I think that last build, well, it just didn't do very much. Of course, there's also a chance that he fights against Roach Ravager and then gets absolutely blasted. Let's not forget about that. Roach Ravager tends to be the hard counter to that type of 2-base play. But even with Ling Bane, I mean, Solar just kind of destroyed him. Solar very solid in that early game, though, so I can't really blame Maru for trying something funky. Second barracks now on the way, so we're going to see a repeat of game number 1. This is Glittering Ashes. It's a very large one. Oh my god, he almost got surrounded there. That would have been a huge deal. This Reaper got nothing done. Usually gets nothing done on Glittering Ashes, but this was getting nothing done to the extreme. Big pause there. Very curious to see what the follow-up is going to be. I really doubt we're going to see the 2 factory, but on this map, technically it's possible. It just feels like you want to keep a little bit more pressure on your opponent, because if you think back of that first game, it really wasn't Maru who set the pace of the game that much. It more was Solar failing to defend one of the mine drops, a relatively simple mine drop, may I add, and then completely losing control. But before that, he had firm control of the game. He defended practically perfectly. If I was Maru, I wouldn't think back of that game as a game where I completely outplayed my opponent. No, it was a game where you get a couple of big mine hits, you get very far ahead, and from there you leverage your advantage. But it wasn't necessarily build order the greatest thing in the world, I think. I think Maru will be seeing it similar as I'm seeing it here. It's like, well, I got kind of lucky there, but this early game looked so tight. I feel like I might need to switch it up. And switching things up in general, of course, is always a big plus. We have a couple of depots on the way here. Trying to get that wall done before he needs to move out with these medevacts. On a map like this, that shouldn't be much of an issue. Solar once again with a late layer. No Baneling Nest yet. We'll be seeing the 2 Evo chambers go down soon, no doubt. We'll have that double Ling upgrade into Baneling style once again. Otherwise, I feel like we should have seen a layer already. Oh, there goes your Reaper. Knock that one out of the park, Solar. Baneling Nest now going down. More drones on the way. Oh, we actually have a layer. Is this Mutalisk then? We don't have any extra gases yet. Where are you going, sir? Get Spore on the edge. Look at these timings, they're so tight. This early game out of Solar is honestly fantastic. It's really, really good. I'm getting a... I really am getting a Muta feeling here, by the way. I really am getting a Muta feeling. Skipping the Evo Chambers pre-layer. Going up to 3 gases? No. Okay, just goes into double Evo anyway. Okay, maybe I just don't know what I'm talking about. So I see these 2 Evo Chambers getting queued up. Ooh, it's going to be an armory as a follow-up, which means the second factory will go down soon. Yep, here we go. Second factory is down already. First Overlord is going to die. No transfuse being wasted there. These medevacs are going to pick up into the main base. The Spore up here will force something of a zoning for these medevacs to stay out of. A bit of a zone to stay out of. Baneling speed is on the way, and 1-1 should also start soon. Will allow Solar to get ahead in these upgrades, as E-base haven't even started yet. Yep, here we go. It's a little late. Oh, what's this? Wait, that's an Overlord Cocoon, no? Am I going wild in the head? Is there Overlord speed? No, there's no Overlord speed. Okay, he's gonna drop 8 slow links into the main base. That's kind of cool. We don't see this every day. 66 workers as well here for Solar. Once again, he's losing a bit of creep, and I think he lost 2 Overlords so far. But I mean, these are, well, he does need to start trading at some point. Need to start fighting at some point at least. This mine is just retargeting again and again and again and again and again and again. I think these links just got sent back, or this perhaps got spotted. Funky start here. If 5 workers do end up going down, this 4th base is really important right now here for Solar. If this 4th base stays alive and he can get another big round of drones in before it finishes, that would be a huge deal. However, if this 4th base gets cancelled, just like in that game number 1, could be in a bit of trouble, and Solar's not actually moving in position yet. There's a lot of damage output in this army. Solar now starts moving and will be here in time. Bailing speed finishing up as well, and without any mines. Oh my god, Maru forgetting to micro. At the same time, Ling run by in the natural. Probably the reason why he forgot to micro. Loses 10, 11, 12 workers maybe. What is this? 11 workers going down at the same time as Solar taking out every single marine on the other side of the map. Bar none. His 3rd base needs to basically lift off, or well, at least piss off at this point. SCVs go back into the natural. 75 workers against 52. Hydra lists are out already. We're on 5 gases. We're going into a Hydra-focused mid-game. And this looks really good for Solar once again. His early game is so ridiculously clean here. It is just insane. Mines haven't really been capable of doing anything yet either. I do believe we have the drilling claws. Yep, here's the drilling claws. Here comes the first mine drop. Second mine drop we see heading in towards the 4th base. Oh no, Solar, not again. Not again. 13 workers are gonna get taken out and the mines stay alive. And just like that, Maru says, ta-da, I'm back. Of course, this isn't quite as dire as in the first game, because Solar also managed to take out a bunch of workers of his opponent himself. We're later into the game, which means that losing workers is less important. Ooh. Oh, I thought he was going into 8 tracks, but this is just barracks 3, 4, and 5. This is how late the barracks are because of the double factory opener. That's so wild. Command center is being built in the main base here. Fort CC, of course. Lurker den's already being constructed. Yeah, I'm 5 extra workers going on. I'm almost feeling bad here for Maru. He's still quite far behind after killing what, 20 workers or so, 24 workers. Of course, he lost a bunch of mines for it, and the fact that his 3rd CC was so delayed because of the 2 racks also doesn't help. More workers are being built. 5th base is on the way. Mines once again are getting dropped. We don't really have any Hydras in position for any of these drops, which quite frankly does surprise me a little bit. Spore positioning also hasn't been the greatest. I really like this type of spore positioning. Just 1 spore over here would be so darn helpful. Here comes Maru once again, and one more time. We don't have anything in position. There's nothing happening, and yet Solar is taking major damage here. 17 workers go down. Natural also needs to be pulled. Another mine hit that hits bigly. And we are in a situation where now 41 workers have gone down. And the game is starting to even up a little bit. Yes, it is starting to even up. It's still in favor of Solar here, I do believe. And as long as his 5th base goes up, it's going to be in a fantastic position. Oh my god, that was a huge mine. What was that? 14 link kills on that one mine. Good lord. That's actually so big. 350 minerals down the drain, just like that. Is that 350? I think so, yeah. Yeah, 350. Good lord. It's a lot of money. It's a lot of money. The other 4 mines are starting to move across the map, and at this point... I'm not so sure. I'm not so sure anymore. We have seismic spines on the way, which is good. It will allow Solar to defend these outside bases. Extreme ease. Just extreme ease. These marines are not going to be good enough against 4 or 5 lurkers, especially if there's a couple of queens there to support them. The issue is that I also don't see an opportunity for Solar to move across the map and straight up win the game. And I did see that opportunity before. That opportunity is now gone. I think that is an issue. These mines are going to finish up. 9 workers once again total. Feels like every single time I'm thinking to myself, okay, now surely he's not going to take damage again. He just keeps taking damage. None of his units ever seem to really be in position. Do we have a spore in the main base? Yes, it's not going to be in the perfect position though to deal with this. Spore starts moving forward, Veilings are rolling in, Spore gets targeted down, and the medevacs pick up and leave. Where are these Vipers, by the way? It's over here. Trying to get a little bit of energy. Perhaps use Parasitic Bomb on some of these medevacs would be a big deal. We now have 6 lurkers out. And this is actually the first game that feels somewhat even. It really does feel somewhat even. I'm surprised that Solar isn't trying anything with these lurkers. He's not moving out on the map. He's not going for harass. Okay, here we go. Sending out a lot of Hydra Bane here. Looks to be a 5th base cancel, except there's no 5th base. It's difficult to cancel something that ain't there. Although I do that sometimes as well. Just preemptively cancelling phone plans at companies I don't have a phone plan with. Just in case I do have a phone plan there. These guys, they take your money faster than you can say aye. Oh, double mine drop once again, and boom. 30 more workers down the drain. We actually have a big move out, and this is kind of what I was hoping for earlier already. 68 workers gone down on the side of Solar. Solar has a very high army supply. There's not that many tanks here. Here comes Solar. He's going to jump straight in. Oh, do we get an EMP? No EMP. Good blinding cloud, though. That EMP also doesn't quite hit. These tanks are going to start falling, and Maru actually needs to go home right now. These Hydras going to get caught in the middle of the map. Very awkward situation here. These tanks are going to get taken out as well. Oh, Solar, you're making it happen. You're making it happen. A lot of tanks are going down here. These lurkers are being used so aggressively. Marines going in. Will they be capable of taking out these lurkers? I think they might just be. There's no support anymore over here. 4 more lurkers in the back. This is the weirdest fight, by the way. It is the weird little fight where it felt like if everything was joined up, Solar definitely would have won, but because he had to defend against these 2 pushes, he actually still had a lot of Lynx, a lot of Hydras at home, probably also a couple of Banelings there, and as a result didn't manage to win the game. Still got some good damage, completely reset the tank counter, almost completely reset it. Any relevant tanks? Yeah, I mean, these are new, this is new. So there's 1 tank left in the main base, which is the anti-Nidus tank. This was genuinely not a bad fight here. This was I like this fight. I like this fight here for Solar. Another 5 workers gonna... How many workers did fall here? 77 workers in 13 minutes. Good lord. That's a lot of workers. Big scan here. Creep tumors are gonna get taken out. I'm surprised how well Solar has been capable of spreading creep this game, by the way. This is quite impressive. This base... Oh, I thought it was gonna die, but... I mean, if you see 12 Banelings rolling forward, I guess you might think twice about trying to right-click down that base. These Hydras accidentally catching some medavacs here. If they would have targeted properly, would have been capable of getting probably all 3 of them, honestly. But in the end, all of these Hydras are going to go down. Solar has bigger fish to fry right now. He's moving forward with a bunch of lurkers into the 3rd base. Forces a lift off immediately. Is there any scans available? I'm not quite sure if there is. Solar says, hello, Mr. Maru. I have a surprise for you. They're burrowed underground and... You can scan, but... Oh, actually, gonna get a couple of snipes up. That's big. Oh, here's a lot of scans available. Oh, that says an overdose over. I didn't realize that. Solar still, of course, in a very good position here. Killing 14 workers there is usually not that big of a deal against Terran, but if your opponent's only on 150 supply, all of a sudden that does become a pretty big deal. Not like there's infinite money here for Maru, who's trying to take his 5th base finally. Also just re-landed his 3rd. Another sensor tower on the way here, +2 vehicle weapons coming in as well. And the first Liberators are being produced. Actually, Liberator 3 and 4. We also have a nuke. Could potentially have a cheeky nuke somewhere. Of course, Maru has good memories of nuking Solar. He's done it twice. At the same time, Solar also has good memories of taking out this base. He's also done that twice already this game. Liberator kind of gets pulled forward. Doesn't really do very much. This tank is just getting free shots on these Banelings. Once again, it's not a good trade. 18 workers down the drain. One more time. 18 Hydras. 20 Lynx. +3 melee attack. What's the range? Okay, range at +2 as well. Not bad, not bad. We still have no lurkers, actually. Oh man, no lurkers. There's 3 lurkers on the way. Night is coming out as well. Solar is trying to go for the kill, and understandable. I even like it, because he's playing on such a high drone count. As long as he keeps trading, it's going to be fine, even if these trades aren't super effective. As long as he can deny his... Actually, the trades are pretty effective. 18k units lost against 14k. We consider that a good trade most of the time. This base is going to fall. 2nd planetary will not come in time to save it. Do we have a blinding cloud available? No, we do not. I think the Viper just got EMP'd immediately there. I probably need a couple more lurkers here in order to fight this army, but 2 command centers ended up going down here. There's an alternative solution, which could be the orbital floating over there, but I'm not quite sure if that's something that Maru is really down for at this point. Queens start moving forward, lots of transfuse energy available. Right now just using it to plant down a couple of creep tumors. 6th base, 7th base on the way. And Solar's just out expanding his opponent at this point. He's playing 6th base against a well, this a 6-patch Terran. There's literally like 6 patches he's mining from. That's not good. That's generally not good. Knight is not gonna go up. And at the same time, I'm not even quite sure if that matters. Knight is now starts going up into the naturals. We can see on the mini-map. A couple of Hydras are moving forward, trying to snipe some Ghosts, but instead the Ghosts snipe the Hydras. This Knight is going to go up, as Maru isn't quite paying enough attention. There's Lurkers in here. Are they gonna pop out? Are they gonna pop out? Oh, yes, they are. 2 Lurkers are going to pop out, immediately pop back in as well. Kind of a cute move. Next Nidus goes up into the main base. And here comes Solar for another try. 10 Lurkers are morphing. He isn't even going to wait for them, as he decides, you know what, I can just straight up attack into this. A lot of tanks are falling. Ghosts are taking a lot of damage as well. And here comes the Lurker force. Is there enough to deal with these Lurkers? I think the answer might just be no. This orbital will be forced to lift. Isn't going to lift. Nidus goes down on, well, what should be the 5th base for Maru. Nuke. Well, this is a very ambitious nuke. Very optimistic here. Thinking that Solar's gonna fall for this trick another time, of course. Isn't going to happen. Knight is going up in the main base. A slash gets thrown out there by Maru, and then the GG. Solar wins the series 2-1 in a fantastic display of skill. Honestly, some of the cleanest early game I've seen in a long time. Great understanding of the mid game as well. A little bit sloppy at times against the mines, but it doesn't matter if your early game is this strong. Alright, that's going to be it for today. I hope you all enjoyed. If you did, don't forget the like button, subscribe to the channel, and hopefully I'll see you all next time for a new video. Thanks so much for your time, and bye-bye.